Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine Podcast Radio. You're about to listen to an episode of Through the TechVine. So be quiet, pay attention, and get inspired. There is one truth that is not told enough. Technology is not magic, but it can be magical. Technology is human. It is part of who we are, our evolution, our future. Will it be a dystopian or utopian one? Well, that is up to us and nobody else. Knowledge is power, now more than ever. Blue Lava is the first business platform for CISOs to manage their security program. Blue Lava guides security leaders to effectively measure, optimize, and communicate their security program with confidence and ease in one platform. Learn more at bluelava.net.
We are on, Sean.
There we are.
Wow, that was very fancy.
Right? With the music and everything. It must be like a special occasion. I wonder what that is.
Or who that could be.
Yeah, it's a special someone.
Yes, very special.
Who's that?
A ghost.
A ghost? Chloé, you couldn't not make me any happier. You probably know how much I love Halloween, and if we're gonna go with that, I'm in all month long. So wonderful. Right. It's Chloé Messdaghi.
Hi everyone. Thanks for having me on. This is so exciting. I like your intro. Right?
It's the first time that we actually playing it live. We usually put it in post-production, but Sean got old tech and he figured out how to do it. So it just saved me time from editing. Also because we normally do not even edit any of these episodes. So whatever goes on the internet is there forever. It's not even scary a little bit, right?
Right, yeah.
No,
Talking
definitely
about
not. Definitely not.
Well, we're so happy to have you on. You're guest number 2, and this is episode number 18. And I have a feeling that the next few episodes, seriously, until the end of the month, they're gonna kind of bring a little bit of Halloween. I know that my news today has a little bit of Halloween on that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited. Let's make a round of how are things going. So let's start with you, Chloé. First of all, for people that may not be familiar with you because they've been living in a cave for like the past 20 years or something, a little bit about yourself, and then we make a round of what we are up to.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Once again, my name is Chloé Messdaghi, and I am a strategist and also researcher. You may have heard of We Open Tech or Hacking is Not a Crime. Those are both 2 organizations that I co-founded. I also have a podcast with ITSP Magazine called the Change Making Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? If you haven't tuned in, you should. We basically have guests that are trying to make a difference in security and tech, and what are ways that you can roll up your sleeves to get involved.
So inspiring. Inspiring.
Yeah.
Diana, last time you brought a guest that was part of the YSIS. Today we have Chloé representing women, diversity, and everything from A to Z, and even all the way around and backward. So that's who we are, right?
That is who we are. Yeah, we're inclusive, we're open, we're everybody. It's all about the big conversation. And sometimes I was interested when it said at the beginning, intelligence is power. And sometimes we embrace the fact that we don't know everything too, which is nice.
Yep. They say it's a sign of intelligence to understand it. I don't know if that applies to us, but at least we're trying. If you know that you don't know everything, that means that you are aware.
I'm slightly different because I don't know anything.
Oh, now you're just showing off, Sean, that you're highly intelligent.
Highly unintelligent.
He's doing tricks of reverse psychology on us.
That's right.
Chloé,
right.
come on. Put him in a corner right there.
It's my unbirthday today.
It's your
It's your
unbirthday too.
Unbirthday?
Wow.
Mm.
Happy unbirthday.
I don't know how to take that from Sean. This could be your actual birthday. It could be 6 months away from your actual birthday. It could be not even close. Like, where are we on the spectrum? What does unbirthday really mean?
He's tricking us because he wants us to say happy birthday because it was not too long ago. We're not going to say when it was, but it wasn't too long ago. So happy non-birthday, Sean.
It came and went. So I'll celebrate an unbirthday today.
Okay.
It's a lovely day
Okay.
out, and I mean it's good. I mean the sky is blue, a few clouds, mid 70s. It's really nice. So
Very
not that I
cool.
get out much
It's a
into.
good day.
Yeah.
Good day.
But when I do, I enjoy it.
I enjoy it from my window next to my desk as I'm working.
Exactly.
Wait, I thought that we all lived in underground, right?
We're
Last
mole
time I
people.
checked, if we're in the hacker community, we live in our mom's basement or something.
Well, it's hard to see the sky from under the hood of the hoodie. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
I
am-
have binaries number coming down on the wall, like the Matrix.
In back of you.
I got my ski mask on. Gotta keep that face nice and warm and itchy.
In prep. I actually legitimately am wearing a hoodie right now, but it's because they're comfy. It's
They are
comfy athleisure. What can I say?
Do you have the hood on? That's the question.
No, the hood's not up. I'm getting ready to get tinsel in my hair tomorrow in honor of Halloween.
Oh,
So-
cool.
The tinsel
Yeah.
weave. Is that a thing?
It is. I'm kind of bringing back the nostalgia of Adrienne Maloof, the first season of Beverly Hills Housewives. Housewives of Beverly Hills. But yeah, my friend has convinced me that what my hair needs is some tinsel. And you know what? I think maybe that's the truth. So I'm going to give it a shot.
Are you easily convinced, Diana?
Not always, but I have to say when sparkly things are involved, sometimes it's easier to get me to say yes.
Shiny, sparkly things.
Sparkly things are.
Sorry, that was me. I just pushed a button I should have not pushed.
Oh, come on now.
Let's, as we do small talk. Sorry, I'm gonna steer on Halloween again. Who is not excited about Halloween here, so that I can just kick him out from the conversation?
See you later.
So it depends on what you mean. Because as far as being super excited to see all the kids dressing up and coming by your house, that sadly doesn't happen because literally we've lived here in this house 7 years and not one child has trick-or-treated because I think we're just a little bit too far away from the center of town, and the town has a big thing where all the kids go. So I used to get excited about seeing all the kids and talking to them and seeing the costumes. So I can't get excited about that, but I do dress my dogs up every year. So that's something I look forward to. I don't know if they do though.
Do you dress up?
Not anymore, but I did used to when I was younger. I did a lot of childcare, and I always liked to dress up as Susie Sue when I took the kids out trick or treating because I really felt that she was sort of like a walking Halloween costume.
Really cool. Really cool. How about you, Chloe? Do you got kids going around where you live, or?
Nope. I live in a very urban setting, so nope.
Mm.
Which is one of those things, because I have to agree. When you don't have kids coming and asking for candy, it kind of feels weird.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you can always go to these Halloween parties and everything, but it's still pandemic, so it's a little bit still tricky to do certain things. But I know my dogs hate it a lot. They don't like costumes. If I put them in a costume, they stay frozen. Like Medusa just looked at them like statues, and they're like that for hours. Like 4 hours, they'll just stand right there, tail down, and it looks like animal cruelty has just occurred. But it's just because I put a bandana.
Wow, that's not. I don't even know if that qualifies as a costume. It's
Right?
It's borderline.
I've been trying. I got
Little flair.
Right? So Sherlock in her first year, she had the Sherlock costume on. Didn't move for 4 hours. Her friends just kind of passed her around the room holding her because she didn't want to move at all. And so after that, I was like, all right, next costume I'll get something like a bandana or something very small. nope, doesn't move. And then Luna, my other Shiba, does not like anything on there. She like literally will growl, she'll get angry, and then she'll like tries to help take it off of her. It's never gonna happen. Halloween with those two, never gonna happen.
Chloe, when you say Sherlock had the Sherlock, was that a little deer stalker? You had a little deer stalker on Sherlock's head there, a little deer stalker cap?
Yep, I had
Wow.
that, and I had the nice little coat. I went all out for her first Halloween, thinking that she would like it. But granted, she did not like it. I also thought that she would like, New Year's Eve one time, and I took her, and there was fireworks near, and she did not like that at all. I learned real fast. She crawled up me like a cat and screamed in my ear. So yeah, lessons learned. It's hard being a parent.
Yeah. Oh well. It's because we try to project what we like on them, and it may not be that. But no matter what, my dogs are gonna get dressed. Apparently, that's the plan. It's not my plan, but somebody in the house wants to do that, and I'll take pictures and post it on the internet. Sean, what about you? Because I'm going somewhere here with that idea we had about doing an Halloween episode of
that's in the
getting
works.
together with like we've done the Christmas one. Why not doing an Halloween? So I'm kind of like checking the water here to see if people are going to show up with some dressing on or not.
Please have it. Please.
All right. Okay.
I need some fun here in this cave or this basement.
In your basement.
In my basement.
Live.
I need to wear something else than a ski mask.
All right. Live from the cave. Live from the cave. All right, Sean, what's your take on Halloween? And then we move on tech.
Yeah. So actually, I would connect it to. So I have a ton of Halloween stuff. So when I lived in Beach City, well, I meant a few different places, but in the Beach City, I decked the place out top to bottom, cobwebs, spider webs, tombstones, giant spiders. I don't know, just tons of things. Smoke machines, you name it. I had the gear. Flickering light, candelabras and chandeliers and all kinds.
Sounds like you're Tim Burton.
Exactly. So, but then I moved to the middle of nowhere, and similar to our co guests here today, not much in terms of kids cruising around. So no sense in putting all that stuff up for just myself. So I didn't bother. I've since given most of it to my dad, who enjoys a lot of it. And this year, being in the middle of everything, I expect to see a ton of costumes, but not certain how the trick-or-treating stuff works, but we'll see. So I love it. Love the movies, the horrors, love the decorating. Muffin didn't get much decoration herself. I don't think she didn't dig it and didn't really bother. So
Muffin. All right, I gotta ask.
She got spared.
What do people think about what's going to be the popular costume? Because I had a bunch of ideas, but then now after Squid Game, I'm thinking,
oh God, I knew you were going to go there.
I was just about to say something. I was like, I bet you there's going to be a lot of Squid Game costumes coming out.
Right?
Yeah.
Fencing mask, red boiler suit. You're ready. Yeah.
I have not seen an episode yet, but Caro did. And she was like, okay, another one. This is so weird. Another one. Oh my God, this is so weird. I'm like, what are you watching? And then I read the news this morning that there was like a fight that picked up in a store because they were allowing to do some of the games and get merchandise. I'm like, okay, I got to check this out. But I'm not there yet. So if you actually seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All of them. And it is dark. I felt dirty after watching the episodes, but I need to get through them all because I was like, I gotta know. I mean, I kind of knew who was going to end up being the winner and everything, but the whole thing, just from like a cognitive science point and like psychology, it's sad because I feel like in some ways it's very realistic, and I think that's the scary part of the entire series is that. This could happen in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is like that. I think that the sets where they play the games, that's definitely would be. But I think emotionally, people being willing to play those kinds of games and with those rules. Yeah, I totally agree.
And here I thought there was a comeback of Laverne and Shirley. I thought you said Squiggy.
Yeah.
That would be a costume.
Hello.
Why we always have to date ourselves with, talking
I have no
about
idea
80s
what you guys
music.
are talking about right now.
Okay.
I'm too young for that. Not that I grew up watching Happy Days or anything. I'm thinking to dress
I was
like
researching
the
history.
fonts.
Wow. Yes.
Cool. Wow, this is something that I think we're going to talk for a while. It's definitely a phenomenon that is happening, and yeah, for sure, Chloe, that got a lot of study to be done, and how social media is maybe part of that, and so forth. So, but why don't we move into some tech news now that we've killed about 16 minutes of, I think people enjoy this kind of conversation. We cannot just be all business. And are we really ever all business in this show? I don't think so. Diana, I see Matahari as your nickname today. So bring it on.
All right, we're going to talk spies.
Aha.
And spycraft
or spyware. I don't know.
No, not spyware. Actually, how technology has changed spycraft and where it might go. There was a really interesting. This was reported by the New York Times. I don't think any other news outlet has seen this top secret cable or confirmed it, but the New York Times just a couple of days ago came out with that there was a top secret cable from top intelligence officials to all the CIA bases that said that there was a problem with informants being recruited in foreign countries that were not being protected properly. So that meant that a lot of them were getting captured and killed. There have been adversarial intelligence agencies in countries where we've got spies like Russia, China, and Iran. They've been hunting down the CIA sources. And sometimes they try and turn them into double agents. Sometimes they kill them. There was one incident in 2018 that saw 20 CIA informants executed in China after their secret communication system with the CIA was compromised. So this is it's a serious problem. Then the way that spying occurs is definitely changing. The cable itself listed some reasons, including poor tradecraft, being trusting of sources, moving too quickly to recruit. So some real sort of procedural things that could be done, like recruiting more slowly after you've maybe vetted people for a little bit more closely. But what was interesting to add on to that is that CNBC did an interview with someone or NBC News, and I hope that I get his name right. It's Duane, I believe, Norman, and he's a 27-year veteran of the CIA, and he has a view that's a little bit of an outlier among his colleagues, but he believes, or his former colleagues at the CIA, he believes that what's really going on, what's changed everything, is the digital dust from technology that we're past. And his quote, the very idea of a globally dispersed cadre of undercover officers operating in the shadows away from prying eyes is obsolete. And that is due to technology and the ubiquity of technology. So everything, that digital dust prints footprints that we leave and digital dust that we leave all the way from, if you're a child now, your parents may well be putting pictures of you on social media. Certainly by the time kids are in school, grade school and middle school and up to college, they do a lot of sharing on social media. So we've created these digital footprints of ourselves. So if you're going to try and go under an assumed name in a different country, it's a very different reality now than it was, say, in the 1950s, for example. And then you add on to the fact that our faces are pretty public, and there's a lot of facial recognition and camera surveillance going on, that our devices are leaving little footprints about ourselves with geolocation and triangulation and phone metadata. So thinking of it that way, I can understand why this Norman person is talking about how spycraft is forever changed. And what really on top of that, so I was thinking this is really fascinating that spycraft has changed. It's because of technology, and what does that mean for the future? And then the last bit of it is that the experts that are looking at this are saying that they think that OSINT, open source information, from things like public sensors and those cameras and, the phone geo is ultimately how we're going to start spying well again, by being able to use things like ML to find patterns in all of this openly available signal and data about people, and doing spycraft that way, which kind of blew my mind, because it started to feel like we had gone back to a place that I felt very comfortable with, which is SIM, and SIMs and network analysis, and looking for anomalies in behavior, taking huge trillions of signals and trying to distill out something that tells you about, is there an attack going on? So that kind of ultimately blew my mind, where, wow, has spycraft, is it ultimately going to be where we've been in IT for a while, which is trying to go through massive amounts of patterns to see where the problems may be. And it's the digital world has become the real world. It's kind of mind blowing. So that was my news about tech and changing spycraft.
We can't get the sock to work. Are we gonna?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's a great point.
Are we gonna get spycraft to work? I don't know.
Yeah, internationally. Yeah, it's a big question.
It made me think as you were talking, because you referred to the parents that put pictures and when they're kids, and you don't know what they're going to turn out to be. What if they're going to end up being politician or celebrities, and then everything could be used. I even heard stories from back in a few years ago where there were, I think in France, there were like kids suing their parents for not having the permission to put them when they were baby online. So we're in a kind of a weird world right now. And I think Chloé can totally bring her perspective on this. But I can see that as, you think that the internet, it's kind of like nobody knows you're a dog, but then everybody knows actually who you are.
Yeah.
And how this is reflecting on something like spying. There's like, hey, it's easy to spy because I can use all the internet stuff and do reconnaissance and all that stuff. And then it's like, wait a minute, this is going to bite me in the butt.
I strongly believe the thing that I have a problem with social media is that someone can take a photo of you, post it anywhere, and you who are in that photo, you cannot have it taken down because the photo was taken without your permission. I think that's the problem I have with social media, is that I could delete any pictures that I don't want ever to come out or anything like that. But when it comes to someone else posting something, I don't have control over that. And that makes me nervous, especially when people can Photoshop things. And that scares me because I see, you see these cases online about exes like photoshopping you, putting you into things that you weren't in. And then that haunts you. And then we have cases of like women taking their life because this has now become such a problem and spread. How do you get ownership of your own body back and your own image back? So I think that's the whole thing, is having a deeper conversation about social media, what's okay, what's not okay. And I feel like because of Facebook and the light right now, and Instagram recently, about the research that came out, that it impacts young girls and women when it comes to their body image. I think we have to take a step back and really think this through and really create something where it benefits society, not hurts society.
Yeah, and I thought that James Bond and Sean Connery's James Bond was cool because he had the high tech. I can't even imagine now with the. Have you seen
what's Daniel Craig got?
Yeah, right. Have you seen the guy that is playing guitar as Tom Cruise, and it's you cannot tell the difference. I cannot tell it's a fake. It's a deep it's a deep fake. It's crazy. So I can't even imagine, remember during the Cold War where you could pick a picture of like the ration that maybe they were hiding, like somebody's sick, like a personality or a president or somebody in the high level, just by photoshopping something and then showing it. It was like, that is so fake. But it was easy because it was black and white, like no definition. Now you can actually alterate reality, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know, Chloé, you were kind of touching on it, the innocent bystanders, and you did the photo, and I know there are sunglasses now that capture images, and I presume people are just walking down the street taking videos and photos of all kinds of stuff, and people are in it and don't even know, and clearly didn't agree to be part of it. And I also think to being inside environments where there's an Alexa, let's say, or some other digital assistant that's always listening. Once you enter that space, you're potentially being recorded. Maybe a friend's house, maybe a family member's house, maybe a restaurant that has it on so they can tell it to turn the mood music on. Right? But all these conversations are being captured, all these images are being captured. Big tech is capturing it and storing it and using it. But it sounds like governments are also doing the same.
But that was an interesting thing. And one of the parts of one of the articles I was reading and prep to talk about this was saying that some folks are saying that, well, what we need to depend on is commercial companies doing business in other countries, giving us back information about things that may impact security back in the homeland, which on the one hand, when you think about security, yes, I can understand why that someone would say they are interested in that. But on the other, if you're a commercial company doing business in another country, you have to adhere to the laws of that country. You're not there to spy for the US government. You're there commercially. So it becomes a really interesting question on, I hope that we don't end up getting back into like severe lines of sovereignty and saying, well, I can't even do business in a different country because of the rules and because of the fear of being snooped on. But it was kind of interesting that, there are some people that are saying that's it. We need the commercial companies who are doing business in these other countries to feed us this data.
It ain't easy to be a spy, that's for sure. Well, I think we could talk about this forever.
Some of the encryption laws. Sorry, Mark. Weren't
no,
some of the
go ahead.
encryption laws designed to help with spying to make sure things remained open? You couldn't import technology that had or export technology that had encryption in it.
I mean,
encryption. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I mean, we had like the years ago the I'm in France attack. Remember, because France wouldn't allow cryptography for a little while. You just say your server was in France and it couldn't have crypto on it. Yeah, I mean, and I don't think we have the situation where exporting crypto is a munition anymore. But I do wonder if this becomes too much of a problem. If governments can't get the backdoors they want into the data, are we going to get into that? When I read Cryptonomicon, I was like, I don't know about that. But the more I see, the longer, as things are progressing, I do wonder if we get into a situation where encryption is outlawed. Are we going to start having islands out in the middle of the ocean of encryption?
It's offshore. It's safe.
Offshore. Yeah. Cryptonomicon.
Pirate radio. Remember
you'd be all ready for that, Mark.
Oh, I want to do that. That's my dream life. Forget the cave. I want to live on a boat and just play 60s, 70s music all day long. All right, let's go with our guest. Chloe, what's your news?
All right, so we all know that the Google Pixel is coming out soon, and we're going to know more about this new device. But also the iPhone, the new one, just came out. I think it's a good time for us to discuss what we need to know about our phones. Now, usually when we purchase phones, we want the latest technology because it's so cool, has new features and everything. That's great and everything. But we also need to take a step back because the reality is that there is absolutely no ethical phone out there. What do I mean? Is that your phone has conflict materials, has sustainability issues, it has labor issues. So anytime that we are replacing our phone, like the new one just came out, so I'm getting rid of my 1-year-old phone. We are creating a huge disaster for this planet, but also we are basically giving it the A-OK for child labor and slavery to continue. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that so people have an idea of what I'm talking about here. So
you're all for exploiting the environment?
Definitely not exploiting the environment. Even though it's tempting, the new phones that are coming out, the reality is the most sustainable option and most ethical option is just hold on to your phone. Just if it's if it's still running and everything's cool with it, keep it as long as you can. And the reason for that is let's first dive into the little basics here. So we're going to talk a little about materials, the process, supply chain, working standards, and ability to repair in a very short matter of time. So there's going to be missing gaps, but just the highlights here. So the metal that's usually used for your batteries have to be mined, and usually smaller hands and long hours take place in this. So the thing to note is that a lot of the cases of those folks that are in those mines are children. And unfortunately, it's also in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So 50% of the world's cobalt comes from the DRC, and 20% comes from artisanal mines. Also, 40,000 children work the mines. The thing to know is that they're making $1 to $2 for every 12 hours that they are in the caves. And the one thing to keep in mind is that they're not having any protection whatsoever. So they're digging and they're trying to get all this material, but this material itself puts their life in jeopardy and can have them have a shorter lifespan. And this could be starting at the age of 6 years old. The thing to note is that there are 60 plus different metals out there that are in our devices, and many of them are rare earth materials that uses child and slavery to make sure that it occurs so we can have our device. Now you know about the materials in it. Now let's go into the supply chain part, going into, casting the phones. So we've already heard a little bit about in China where we had workers that have been working there for more than 10 hours on their feet without bathroom breaks, without any food whatsoever. And the other thing is not having protection. So they're dealing with hazardous materials. And this, once again, shortens their lifespan, causes them to have cancer early on by having that material near them. And one of the things to think about that we also have the case with Samsung. So in 2016, the company was accused of poisoning its workers. More than 200 people died or became seriously ill on the production line. And the ages of folks that are usually in these production lines are 14 years old and older. So in other words, when we take a look at our phones, we already know we have conflict materials in it. We also see labor issues involved with it. But now let's talk about sustainability. The thing about smartphones, they can make more than 80 tons of e-waste from discarded smart devices. And the thing is that more and more production of the phones, the way that it's created, the design, is that we're starting to use less screws and using more glue. And the thing to note about is that when you're trying to recycle these devices, they have to take it apart. And so they have to scrape the glue. The problem is that when scraping everything, this also exposes folks to lead and mercury because, once again, they're most likely not having any protection gear on them. And the thing to note is that the other thing is that, for example, the iPhone 13 produces 81% of 64 kilograms of carbon generated by a single device. The thing we need to understand is that even when we're getting the materials, it has to be shipped. And then when it's being put together, it has to be shipped. It has to be shipped to another location and then finally into the store. So once again, this is not being conscious about the environment. But the other thing to think about is that, yes, there's new phones that are coming out. They're saying we're using recycled materials to do better for the environment. But the reality is that we still don't have good recycling programs in the world. And still today, when you drop off your phone to recycle, if you get that newer phone, that trade-in program, those phones get sent to developing countries where then they get exposed to materials when they're breaking it down. We don't actually have a good recycling programs around the world when it comes to batteries and when it comes to technology. And so we need to really look into this and start pushing manufacturers to allow us to have the right to repair. The right to repair means providing tools, parts, repair manuals, so that we know how to fix our phones, or independent shops can fix our phones so we can keep these phones longer. Because it's so important that we do this for the planet, but also we really need to stop using child labor and even promote slavery in any sort of form by our purchases. And the one thing we can do right now is start talking to our legislators about the copyright laws that are protecting companies so they don't share the information of how we can repair our own devices. And that's the one way how we can really solve the situation ethically, moral reasons, but also sustainably, is by having the right to repair our own devices.
I'm going to let Diana go here.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say you're speaking something that is very near and dear to the hearts of the entire Through the TechVine team, because we've discussed right to repair a few times in a variety of different ways, even from our why can't we just put a new battery in our phones, all the way to I don't know if you've heard about this, Chloe, but there's an issue with the right to repair related to the ice cream machines at McDonald's and the companies which we actually covered a few weeks ago on here. So we agree that and so glad that you brought this up and really went into a deep dive on it, because it's such a catch-22. There's really not a lot of options for people right now if you want to have a conflict-free device. And we do need our devices, but what goes on around it, and I mean, right to repair is one thing, but when you're talking about children getting sick and being sick for life, potentially having long-term health issues and cancer, it's absolutely heartbreaking. And do you have any thoughts on what we can do? I mean, what do we do? How do we get out of this?
Yeah. So the one thing I can say is that we need to understand that we need to keep our devices longer. So that means that when you're thinking, oh, I'm doing okay with the environment by switching, my new one and handing over my old one to, say, for example, Apple or even to Google, the thing is that you're actually not doing any better for the environment, because I think a lot of times we still think that plastic is something that's recyclable. It's not. It's now about, if you want to care about our environment, we have to go more towards the zero waste front. So that means keeping things longer. That means our clothes, we should keep them longer. It means learning the ways how to repair our clothes so we can last longer, because, even plastic, there's plastic bits of your phone. Those cannot compost for up to 1,000 years. So we have to think this through, which is, what are we doing right now to our planet? And I understand that, we all have short period of times of our lives on this planet, but we also have to think about who we're handing it over. And it's always been like, oh, the future generation will take care of this problem. It's like, no, you don't get to pass your problems down to another generation. It means fix the problems, so then your grandchildren don't have to deal with those problems and they can focus on other issues.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I think I heard you say 60 different types of metal.
Yeah.
Chloe. I'm just wondering, I don't know, does bringing that down to 50 or one type of metal or no metals, is that, I'm just wondering, what's the path forward? I mean, having no devices, I don't know that that's ever going to happen.
That's never going to happen.
So metal free or different metals or fewer metal? I don't know. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, it's figuring out, can we make certain materials that, can be compostable in the long run, or one that doesn't use child labor, to make sure that we have it. And I think that's kind of what we're looking at, right? I think of it as kind of like the diamond industry, right? We know child labor is huge, slavery, and, you have the blood diamond conflicts and everything like that. And the thing to note is that now, we have labs that are creating these diamonds. And, this means that, it's not kids going into caves, putting their life at harm and at risk. And it's not about getting these kids then in India to, cut these diamonds and have poor living conditions where, it shortens their lifetime too. Instead, it's looking at, what can we do with the technology that we have, or do we create new technology in a sense that we can fix this problem? So the whole thing is reducing what's going into it, also acknowledging that a lot of these, materials that we're using right now are rare materials. So that means that, there's going to be a shortage at this point. So how do we fix that problem? How do we recycle those aspects in a controlled environment where people don't put their life at risk.
NFT diamonds.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering,
Well-
I mean, we're sorry, Mark, I was just thinking,
No,
I
you go.
mean, in a lot of places we're in a move where we still have vehicles, but fewer people maybe have their own vehicles and they use shared riding. I don't know if there's a model where we no longer have to carry devices around, therefore we don't need the battery power and all the stuff that goes with it. Maybe, or maybe it's just a chip inside us and
A little brain chip,
Well,
little implant.
have you done the vaccine? Because if you've done the vaccine, you have
George Soros has already gotten in
you
there.
have a phone in you. You just don't know. Eventually, it'll get activated. No, I mean, this is a big conversation, and as Diana said, we have talked about this in many different ways. Maybe we didn't touch on the child labor, but we always talk about an economy that is sustainable. We talk about green energy. Now we're sucking out carbon monoxide from the atmosphere after we put it there, and we invent stuff to do that. And we always have to fix the mistakes that we've done in the past, because the attitude is always going to be always being like, let future generation take care of that. And we're at the point that we just can't do that anymore. But I wonder, and I'm going to be a little bit of devil's advocate here, if just by focusing on, I mean, in this case, we're talking about fun, but I feel like this is a much larger, is a 360 problem of consumerism. So, even when you talk about food, you talk about, waste, you talk about, buying stuff online, you get the boxes, then you return it. Like today, I was listening to this news where like books last year, they actually increased sales, real books, not Audible or electronic books, of 21%, but they're very expensive because now paper company are producing boxes instead of paper. And I'm thinking like, well, I don't give a shit what you produce. We're still killing trees. Can we find a different way to do that? And then people are like, yeah, but we're recycling paper. Well, it's the same conversation all over again. I mean, we're talking about a big cultural change here for everything. Like I get sick every time that we don't consume food because maybe we got extra or it goes bad, and I hate it. But it's like at the same time, I think like, wow, think how much it's wasted every day. So I know we got to start somewhere, and this technology part of everything is old in 3 months. It's kind of sick. I agree. When is good enough, right? When is your phone good enough? If we're going to stick with the phone, when is your phone good enough that you don't need the upgrade anymore? How good the camera can it become? And right?
I think it's just us taking a look at our consuming lifestyle and asking the questions like, when you go, for example, if you go and clothes shopping and you have a choice between like buying something that's from fast fashion where it's 100% polyester, or you look at down the street there's another shop, but this shop sells like 100% cotton shirts, and yes, it's like 3 times the price. The difference is that we have to pause to realize that sometimes it's important that we understand that fast fashion, you'll buy something and that shirt, those buttons will come off within the first few uses of it. Versus if I go down the street to a place where the price might be a little bit higher, but that's because that means that those workers are getting decent pay. That means that the material themselves were, they were taken from organizations that are, trying their best to have something more eco-friendly. I think that's the thing, is we need to understand a little bit more about the items we buy in, and also understand that I think all of us, to a certain extent, we do care about what we're purchasing because it's voting in a sense. We are literally voting what's okay, what's not okay.
Oh, yeah.
But
yep, absolutely.
But we also have to be careful of greenwashing, which I think a lot of electronic companies do this right now, and even clothing, like for example, Everlane. Everlane is like a perfect example. We always think of, we can know where our things are built and where those materials came from. But the reality, they're still practicing bad labor practices, and the materials that they're sourcing are not actually good for the environment. So that leaves us now thinking about whatever you have in your closet, keep wearing it. If it tears a little bit, sew it. We have to learn what we have, and also to understand that, did you know if you just keep the clothes that you have, they will come back in fashion 10 years down the line? Like, I mean, that's the reality, right? Just hold on to what you have, buy good materials, and look into where you're purchasing, where your item comes from. It takes more homework, but there's apps out there that you can know about. But it's important that we start looking at how we're consuming and acknowledging that we're part of the problem.
Something happened along the way, because I remember, my grandparents be like, no, you buy one thing of good quality and you have it forever. And then when I'm growing up in Italy, like, with fashion be such a big thing, like every year you're like, well, what's the new color? Oh shit, I have that in green, and now the new color is orange, so the green is not good anymore. And then you created this circle that sure makes a lot of money to company, but it creates this horrible thing. And it's a mental attitude. It really is. The lifestyle, like I love, when you watch, I'd like to try to be minimalist. And so like if I buy something, it means that I really need it, and I need to think that something come in, something needs to go away. So do I really need that? Right? I don't know. There are many attitudes that you can look at things in a certain way, but I think the majority of the people, and of course I'm going to bring the dark side, they don't care. And I don't know how to make them care.
And I agree. I think a lot of people, they don't care. It's not that they understand the enormity and the consequences, and they're just saying, I don't care, I got mine. I mean, there are some people like that, but most people I think really are good, caring people. It's just that they don't understand the enormity or the complexity. I mean, I know a little bit about this, but Chloé was just really giving me an incredible education on things like the glue versus the screws. So I think that that's a big part of the problem is education. And a lot of people are really busy. Right now people are trying to pay their rent before they get evicted, and they got things on their mind. So worrying, being able to be aware of this, I think for a lot of people feels like, it's so much extra. But it really is worthwhile, because quite frankly, if we can't all be aware of this, it's sort of the same thing with animals and eating animals and the impact on climate, and versus eating more plants. I think it's sort of similar. And I know Sean was talking about that last week. It gets a little bit similar, because the more people understand, I think the more change we'll see, but it's really hard to get through to them, especially when they've got so many things on their minds, like, paying rent and getting healthcare.
Yeah. And it's just simply also holding individuals and organizations accountable. For example, like when we go to conferences, like 90% of stuff that they hand to us was created out of plastic. That means everything that we're getting from them is not going to, you put it in the trash, it's just going to be sitting in a landfill for anywhere from 400 years to 1,000 years. So,
I have stopped getting it. I always say, nope, I don't want it, because Sean can tell you this story. One time we were up in San Francisco, and this was before I stopped getting the bags and stuff. And I wanted to give it to a homeless person, and the guy didn't want it. It's like, I don't want that crap.
What am I doing with that?
I was like, oh my God, if it's not good for these guys, how is it going to be good for anyone else? We're just getting all this stuff and then throwing it away. So good point. So we're running out, and you know what, Chloé, I love to have an entire episode around this.
I would love to do that.
Either on the change making, your show, or let's put together a panel about this, and it's really bring up the conversation. I'm going to light it up a little bit here in the last 10 minutes, and I'm going to go a little Halloween because also I love to hear both of your opinion on this, and of course Sean too. But yeah, you're probably ready. He's going on and off. I don't know, Sean. I don't ever know if you're there or not. You're
We've been
having
losing
some
you, Sean.
technology.
I'm not going to hijack this great conversation by complaining about crappy internet connection. Multiple tabs in and none of them are working.
You're like a blinking light that you disappear, reappear, but it's okay.
So frustrating. I'm loving what I'm hearing. Want to participate?
Yeah, no worries.
But light this up, Marco. I'm not going to interrupt. Light it up.
All right, so I'll take the news now instead of yours. Okay, so you're familiar with Smeagol and Gollum in the Lord of the Ring? You know, my precious, the character.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that character, he talks to himself because he has, you know, who used to be the good side, and then he has the bad side that is owned by the ring. And so there is always this dialogue, this inner dialogue going on with him. And the reason why I'm connecting with that, apart from loving the Lord of the Ring and even this character, is that I found this news where they're studying how if a robot with, you know, an artificial intelligence or a robot that it's becoming part of our life, let's say, does the inner speech, it affects the human trust that it has in the robot, but also it helps the robot to perform tasks better. So imagine the robot that is telling you what it's thinking, and why does he get to do a certain action based on what you ask. Think about the time that, I don't know, your personal assistant doesn't understand what you say, and you don't know why they don't understand what you say. Think if they were processing like, I didn't really understand the word, or what if we meant these? It's a way for you as a human to understand the way the robot think, or the artificial intelligence, I guess, and actually for the artificial intelligence to get better in processing tasks. And they tried it. It's a University of Palermo in Italy that they did this research, and they tried it with that Pepper, the robot, you know, the Japanese one that is really cute that you find in hotels. And it actually, you just go around and you say, oh, this person asked me this, maybe I can do this, and that, and it developed this empathy. So the question for me, knowing Chloe, you know, you're a behavioralist and study these kind of things. How do you see these us interacting with robots, and does it really help us to know the way they're thinking instead of being black box that is just delivering answers without knowing how they get to it? Is it going to help our relationship with it?
Do you think that in some ways there's this fear that if we don't know what's going on in their head, that they'll try to take over the world and we won't know about it? So if we have them display by sharing how they're thinking things through and their processes, that, you know, that will make people feel more safe to use them?
That's my thinking, and that's what the conclusion of this research is. So it's not a black box anymore, but you kind of know where they're going. Still, they could lie to us.
Oh, they could totally do. They could be like, I'm just processing getting you your tea. And in their mind,
I already know the answer.
I know how to poison you with your tea. Like,
yeah.
No, I think it's smart to do that because people are very hesitant with robots because they're worried they're going to take over the world eventually. And I think it's good for people to start, you know, we're going to have robots, you know, sooner or later there'll be a robot in everyone's home. And I know Amazon already is thinking about that.
I think they started with it already.
They already did. Yeah. So, I mean, the reality is that's probably going to happen. So, if we can do it in a way where, you know, the humans feel a little bit more safe using them, that means that they will sell them better. So I think in the end, it's kind of a necessity possibly now at this point for people to have a growing trust with robots at this time.
Would you trust a robot to do what kind of task?
Well, the whole thing, I still have a hard problem is knowing the fact that like my phone is near, or if I'm using like, I don't know, Siri or any of those, that means that they could be listening at all times. So I don't feel safe, period. But I also use them because it makes my life easier. And most of the time when I ask questions, I know I could have just Googled it. So I don't,
Which
I
is
don't
way
really
better,
know.
by the way.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, like, is it a necessity to have at this time? Probably not. But maybe in the future, it might become a necessity. So we'll see. I'm excited for the future. I just hope that we incorporate ethics very early on with any new product that comes out these days. I'm looking at you, Facebook. Yeah.
Well, there is that transparency. Shauna and Diana, I mean, we talk a lot about that. Like, how do they arrive to the certain conclusion, and who knows what we say? Because the fear for me, it's, Chloe, you said it, is the device is listening. I honestly don't care if the device is listening. Is who is listening to the device that worries me, right? So
That's why I was joking about the Google search. I mean, that's any better than a listening device.
Yep.
And
yeah, right. Because Google is not looking at what I search.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to robotics and machines and systems, are we? I mean, do we know what people are thinking when they interact with us, humans? I mean, nobody's displaying their thought process as we engage with them, right? Somebody might ask, well, why are you doing that? Or why are you behaving that way? Or why did you respond to my comment or question that way? We don't get inside the minds of humans. So are we putting too much on machines? Or I don't know.
I think we might be jumping the gun in terms of some of the capability of, I mean, like growing empathy is a really complex system and process, and human beings don't even understand why we have empathy, or why some human beings don't have empathy, right? They don't, if they could grow it, they would, but they can't. So so I think we may be, as far as giving machines empathy, that's a little bit getting more into general AI, and we're very much in the land of narrow AI right now. But what I love about this for what can be applied right now is a push towards more transparency overall in our AI and ML that we're building, because a lot of systems really are black box, and it's very hard for data scientists to understand, if in some cases not even possible to understand, how the weightings were arrived at by the algorithm and why those ratings were given the weights that they were. So the outcome may be something that, there's a little bit of lack of opacity. There's an opacity related to it. But there's a lot of work in ML and AI and to try and get more transparency into how these systems are working. So I love the idea of getting a little bit more of a, why did the algorithm come out with that recommendation? I think, though, we might be a little bit early for true empathy in robots. Wow, now we had double dot nudge there. This is like crazy. If we lost Marco, like, there are ghosts in the machine on this episode.
Something weird going on today.
I got kicked out myself, and
I'm gonna add myself twice because I like myself that much.
there you go.
So nice, you add your twice.
Yeah, so I pretty much lost the last few minutes of the conversation.
I didn't say anything
spooky. Spooky. Well, so what's the conclusion? Do we need to talk to ourselves then, or not?
I think transparency in AI and ML and understanding how the algorithms come at decisions is important. I'm not sure that we're ready for robot empathy. Just technically, I'm not sure that.
I don't think you can, because if to be able to have empathy, you have to be able to experience emotions, right? Mm-hmm. The whole concept of empathy is like when someone's sad about something, that you're able to relate to that sadness. So that means that we have to build machines that are going to feel sad, depressed, anger, like very, very angry, disappointment, happiness, joyfulness. That's the things that we'd have to build into it, is for them to feel emotion in a way that humans do, so then they can have empathy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We kept getting disconnected. I think somebody
patience and empathy here.
Somebody is not liking our conversation and they're hitting us really hard. But we're marking the 1 hour, so I think it's time to wrap. And I think that every conversation, as usual, can have multiple extension and dig in other episode. And the important thing is that we kind of open up our mind and talk about different things, and hopefully the listener do the same. So I'm gonna thank Chloé for being part of this, and definitely take a note in terms of having this conversation in a deeper way, maybe on either your podcast or one of ours podcasts. And I guess we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, with all the disconnection too. This part of the game.
I have the answer. We need better spycraft.
There you go. That's our problem.
There we go.
That's probably
All
it. All right. Peace out, everybody.
All right. Bye.
This will be
Thank you.
going on soon on the podcast, so that if you missed part of it, you can actually watch it again and share it with everyone. Bye-bye.
Blue Lava is the first business platform for CISOs to manage their security program. Blue Lava guides security leaders to effectively measure, optimize, and communicate their security program with confidence and ease in one platform. Learn more at bluelava.net. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Through the TechVine podcast. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.